As you may know, I already tried to beat Resident Evil 7 without ever moving forward, and it went better than expected. So now it's time to try the same challenge in Resident Evil Village. Let's find out if you can beat the game without moving forward. Once again, the rules are very simple. The only way to move is to use the S key on the keyboard, so no pressing W to move forward and no pressing A or D to strafe. The main thing I had to worry about for this challenge were the chase sequences leading up to the various bosses of the game. You see, in Resident Evil Village, the main bosses really enjoyed running after me while being invincible, before I made my way to the boss arena in which I could fight them. I counted up to 5 main chase sequences in the game that could be problematic. The first one was the Lycan capture, right at the beginning of the game. My hands were restrained during the section, so no healing allowed, and a horde of Lycans tried to murder me as I made my way through deadly traps. Second one was Lady Dimitrescu, chasing me after cutting off my hand. Once again, a section that has to be passed without healing. Next up was the Beneviento house, with this cute little baby killing me instantly if I touched it. After that was more section, and all of the times it tried to drown me. And finally Sturm, attempting to turn me into grated mold on multiple occasions. Let's see how many of these sequences were possible without ever moving forward. After walking backwards in my house for a few minutes, my wife got shot and my baby kidnapped. Then I got knocked unconscious and woke up in the snow. I couldn't really see where I was going, but one thing made me turn around, and it was this fence. Just like in Resident Evil 7, I had to press W to jump fences, climb ladders, and go up ledges. I never really found a way around it, so I'll just have to press the damn key. But I'll keep you guys updated on how many times I had to do it during the entire run with this little counter at the bottom of the screen. I arrived in the village and got attacked almost instantly. Hello. The Lycans weren't too smart, however, so even if I was going backwards, I managed to survive for long enough to get captured. And without further ado, our first dreaded chase sequence. This escape was rough while going backwards, and it was one of the 2 reasons I had to play on casual difficulty. Walking backwards was very slow. So slow in fact that this Lycan just couldn't help pushing me. Like that one kid in middle school who can't wait in line at the cafeteria and has to ram into your back every few seconds. But it was possible to reach the end with a bit of health to spare. Unfortunately, this was when things got spicy. The descending spikes. Oh. I tried getting there faster. I tried looking up, I tried looking down, I tried crouching last second to get through. Nothing worked. Needless to say, I was pretty bummed out. At least RE7 had the decency to not force any forward running until the final boss. After a few minutes of attempting, I had to give up. Only an hour into the run, and we had already failed our first chase sequence. At that point, I was hoping the rest of the game would go a bit more smoothly, but oh boy was I wrong. Next up was Castle Dimitrescu, and that was when I discovered that Ethan got a lot smarter during the time between the events of Resident Evil 7 and this one, because he can now get into crawl spaces backwards. My joy was even greater when one of the hot daughters unexpectedly reached for my neck. Let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go. No, 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 don't bite me. Ooh. Oh, bite me. I would have stayed there with her, but my duty was elsewhere, and so I yeeted myself down and progressed further. After murdering all of the transformed castle servants, we met again, and she started chasing me. Unfortunately for her, me playing on casual difficulty meant her flies were damaging my FPS more than my actual health. I made my way up and shut the window to make her vulnerable. So vulnerable in fact that a few shotgun shells right in her chest finished the job. This angered Lady Dimitrescu, especially when she realized I did it all without moving forward. She slammed me through the ground, sliced my hand right off, and now I had to escape her without being able to heal. The second my hand was sliced, I immediately got put to about 30% HP, and now I had to rotate around Lady D, take my hand off the lever, open the gate, and escape without dying. Any blow could be fatal. Well, not really. Much like what happened with Jack in RE7, Lady D was not able to kill me, as long as I blocked her attacks correctly. My difficulty being extremely low at that point meant she was only dealing about 4% per swing. She would also randomly just stop chasing me, so that let me regen a few percent in between some swings. In the end, she brought me down to 12% HP, but ultimately her swing frequency was too low to finish the job. I made my way to the door and escaped to the courtyard. I quickly fixed my hand wound and got going without thinking too much about it. The goal now was to defeat the two remaining sisters, and I thought it could be tricky with Lady roaming the halls, but... Hello? Hello? You okay? I'm just gonna go kill your daughter. Is that fine? The fight against Daniela was pretty straightforward. My movement options being so limited, I just camped the lever to open the roof and there wasn't much she could do. 2 daughters dead, 1 to go. And she was a pushover, since once again there was no need to move during the fight. The rooftop enemies being quite annoying, I quickly dealt with them, got the last mask and ran out of the castle. Almost. Somebody had other plans for me. While making my way to the merchant, I was attacked by Lady D again, and once I entered the safe room, a cutscene triggered. But she still managed to slice my back during the cutscene, bringing me down to 0.8% HP. Close call. In order to regen my health without having to spend a healing item, I decided to chill with the merchant and quickly solve his little puzzle without the need to press W.
Did I just lose my ball? God damn it.
I got to the chapel, knifed Lady Dimitrescu, and we had a riveting fight atop the building. The mechanic of this fight is usually running backwards and shooting her, so not much was different there. The only difficult part was climbing up the stairs to start the second phase, because I couldn't see anything. I grabbed a jar of whatever the hell this thing is, and I went on my way back to the village. Then I was able to acquire the key to progress further, only 3 hours and 15 minutes into the run. The next day, I made my way to the Beneviento house and solved all the puzzles there flawlessly.
I'm confused.
Now it was time to face the cutest baby ever in a video game. My first plan was to loop him around the table and then escape from where we came, but that did not work too well.
Damn!
My second attempt, I tried to make my way through the side room instantly, but I hit too many walls and got eaten again. My third attempt, I tried to go for the same strategy, but as I messed up my movement again, an idea sparked in my head.
Wait, what if I go here?
Now, waiting there looking at it in absolute awe of what just happened might not have been the smartest move.
Oh, he's coming back? Oh, he's coming back! He's coming back! The door is closed!
But at least we had an idea on how to approach it for the next attempt. I went behind the door, waited for it to pass, and went back inside, and I was able to reach the door by going all the way around while the baby was MIA. But it wasn't done with me yet, and came back for more blood. This time, I tried to go for the speedrun strategy called the baby skip. It involves baiting the baby into going into the kitchen while going past it, either by running in front of it or hiding behind the door. After multiple attempts and jump scares, I realized that both of these options required me to move a bit faster than my backwards movement speed. Going under the bed was also not an option, since it was impossible to move backwards under there.
I can't go under the bed, because you need to press forward.
Attempt after attempt failed, and I was just about to give up after 40 minutes of struggling when somebody came to my rescue. The closet. Before this stream, I only ever used the bed or the speedrun strategy to get past the baby, and I was unaware you could get into the closet and hide from this monstrosity long enough for it to leave. I restarted, activated the baby again, slowly walked back to the closet and hid inside. Only to get found and eaten alive once again. Was I just too slow with my backwards move speed to make it to the closet without being seen? I did decide to give it another go with the tightest movement possible. I went inside and I waited. I waited until it was completely silent. I slowly got out and I followed the bloody trail on the ground, only to discover that the baby was gone. It still came back in a desperate attempt to prevent me from taking the elevator, but it was just too late. I calmly and patiently waited for the elevator and emerged victorious. The celebrations were rather short, however, since there was one more thing to deal with in order to be able to exit this haunted house. I had to defeat Angie. Fortunately, I learned her different spawn locations beforehand, and I got pretty lucky, so I was able to kill her on the first try. Second P-jar in hand, I went outside and left this horrible place behind, comforting myself in the fact that I was able to surpass the 2 challenges it threw at me without the need to press W. On my way to Moreau, I thought the big lichen would be a problem, until I remembered that a few shots would solve everything really quickly. I also got a free pass on this broken ladder since pressing F made Ethan climb it without the need to press W at all. After not so sneakily stealing the jar from Moreau, he forced me into his lair. I immediately came across an unexpected challenge. This boat. Holding S on the boat causes it to spin for some reason. So after a few minutes of ranting and trying to figure out if a motorboat could hypothetically move in reverse, I decided that, like ladders and vaults, I would have to press W to proceed. As if amused by the situation, Moreau attacked right after the boat section and drowned me before I could reach the next platform. On the second try though, I was able to reach the edge and jump to safety, but I still needed to get through the entire flooded area. Actually, Moreau jumped on a few of these wooden platforms, but ultimately he did let me cross all of them with a lot of time to spare. The real enemies were these colored platforms and levers. So the goal here is to activate the corresponding levers to raise these platforms and go through quickly before they go back in the water or you die instantly. Now this is what it looks like in a normal playthrough. Seems easy enough, right? It wasn't. Let's take a look at the problem from a different angle. This is what the puzzle looked like, and these were the timers for each of the platforms. The white platform had a really long timer, so it was not a problem. The major issue I encountered is that the orange and blue platforms would go down too fast for me to cross them a second time. Sure, I could reactivate them here and there, but somehow I could never reach these two in time. It got me a bit confused because I tried many times and the same thing kept happening. Yet in theory, the timer was long enough, until I made a discovery. My timers were somewhat imprecise. Indeed, activating the lever with the platform in a default state would result in this timer, but reactivating a platform that is already up would shave off about 4 seconds on the timer, making it impossible for me to cross it in time. So now I knew the timers only started ticking down once the platform was fully in position, and I had to use that to my advantage. The plan? Activate the blue lever so early that the blue platforms would go down right after crossing the first one. Then wait and activate it in the middle there, right before the orange platforms fall down, and then reactivate orange here. That would supposedly give me just enough time to cross the final 3 platforms. And here's how it went.
Orange. Lost to the boat. Yeah, we couldn't row the boat backwards. That was sad. Okay, that's about to fall, right? Please. Yes? That might be it! That might be it!
The rest of the area was pretty easy in comparison. Bait Moro's attack once and just go through slowly. Moro does have one ladder though, and also a ledge after the second boat, and another 2 ladders after that. The boss fight itself was longer than expected for casual difficulty, but Moro got staggered quite easily, and I made my way back to the village once again. Now, before going to the next area, I decided to quickly grab the Magnum and solve the ball puzzle on the first try once again.
Oh, wait.
Heisenberg was the only one left to defeat, but there were still a few obstacles to get through before reaching him. First, trying to find a way through the lichen and the den. Frankly, except for a few ladders that needed climbing, it wasn't really too much of a hassle. The lichens were numerous, but so were my bullets, and eventually it seemed like I could walk inside. And it was pretty much the same story inside, except I don't think I even bothered killing them all. The important question was, how would the Uriash fight go if I was only able to move backwards? And here's your answer. I got the final flask, flawlessly maneuvered the boat back to the village, and went on to the factory to meet Heisenberg. Turns out I didn't really want to have anything to do with him, so I got to know Stern instead. He wasn't the nicest at the start, but once we got to know each other, he let me go, and I think we became friends. We did meet again after a long stroll through the factory, but he didn't seem to recognize me somehow. So we just stared at each other for a few seconds, and then he scratched my back while I closed the door on him. And honestly, that was it for the day because I was exhausted. The next day, I was prepared to finish this run. I started the stream by forgetting my timer and showing off my pipe bomb skills.
What happened?
However, I quickly recovered and met up with my friend Propellerhead. We started off the reunion by him walking on top of 5 strategically placed mines, and he loved it so much that he gave me a long warm hug. I'm not gonna lie to you, it felt a bit uncomfortable, so I put him out of his misery and moved on. Chris rudely interrupted me before I could leave, and I could see from his face that he was dead serious. He ordered me to stay low and gave me a tank because it makes sense. The tank was a great help in defeating Heisenberg though, but I still got killed right after by Miranda. Now it was time for Chris to shine, although he also did not have the ability to walk forward like a normal human being. My new gun was so strong that one bullet to the head just took care of every lichen in my path. Even Uriash's big brother just took a few shots to the knee before going down. I found Mia and we escaped in the helicopter. The end. Thank you for watching. Whoa, what do you mean there's a final boss? You think I'm scared of doing the final boss because it was impossible to do without running forward in Resident Evil 7? That thing? Yeah, well, here's how it went.
Purpose, Mr. Winters. You disposed of my false children and awakened the glorious Nebulizer. Now, please do not worry for little Rose. I assure you I'll provide her with truthfulness. So
Not much of a challenge, since she died without the need for me to move anyway. Rose was back in my hands, or hand rather. Then Ethan, Chris and Rose all went in the helicopter and escaped alongside Mia. Yes, that's the ending of the game and everybody left the village alive. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So that was the run. We beat Resident Evil Village by only pressing W 24 times. Honestly, it went better than I expected. Aside from the usual ladders and ledges, there really was only one time I really had to move forward to escape the ceiling spikes. Most of the other chase sequences were designed in such a way that I could actually pass them while being rather slow. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I hope you had a nice time. And I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more in the future. Have a nice day, or night. Bye bye.